All right, we got John Gray, Emmy Award-winning journalist from News 10 ABC and accomplished author. Now, I don't
Uh,
know if a lot of people know that or not, but you've had your kids' books out, and now you got a new novel.
yeah, thank you for having me on the show. Good morning. Yeah, it's kind of a fun time for me because I have the way it just timed out. I was working on two different books, 2 different years, but they all both came out. A children's book and an adult book, for mom and dad. Kind of came out within weeks of each other here.
So tell us a little bit about tell us about the new kids' book first, and then we'll talk about this one you have for Christmas.
Okay, the kids' book is called Sweet Polly Petals, and it's a story of a little girl who it's kind of timely with everything going on too. Not so much COVID, but the economic stuff. She sees a homeless person in the park a lot and asks her mom about the lady, and she says sometimes people just need help. And then the little girl goes over to and offers her lunch, and in exchange, she's given a magic flower that grants wishes, but she only has 4 wishes, and they can't be for her or they don't come true. So Polly has to go around town and find 4 people to help with her flower. So that's the children's book. It's a good one for teaching kids about thinking beyond yourself. Because every time somebody gets a magic lamp, they want to wish for $1,000,000 or I want to be famous. This kind of flips it where the wishes only come true. You lose a wish if you wish for something for you. You don't get it, and you lose the wish. So it's kind of that way.
Yeah, I think we could all use a good read of that just to remember some of those kind of things. And you're always working with a really good illustrator too in these books, right?
Yeah, her name is Shauna Brickell, and she's lives in Virginia. I found her by accident, and she's a wonderful artist who always wanted to do a children's book, but everybody told her artists are starving and you can't do that for a career. And so she didn't. She didn't go to school for it, and she does something entirely else for her career. But she found me on Facebook and illustrated my first book, and now this is the third book she's done, and she's a really, really good artist. It's a shame that she didn't just do this full time her whole life, but she's excited to have a book out there, and now 3. So yeah, the pictures are beautiful.
Awesome. We're talking to John Gray from in News 10 ABC's got a couple of new books out, the one we just talked about, and now you have this is your first novel, right?
Right. This is called Manchester Christmas, and it's sort of a Christmas story, but not really. I mean, they timed it to come out at Christmas, but you could read it any time of the year. And it's set in Manchester, Vermont, so people from around here will appreciate some of the references. There's definitely references to things you'll recognize if you've been over to Vermont at all, and really any part of Vermont. Vermont has its own flavor and style, and so a lot of it will seem familiar to the reader. And it just briefly tells the story of a young writer from Washington, Seattle area who always wanted to see Manchester, Vermont, because she had a calendar page in her room growing up. She was a poor kid, and it kind of was her escape to see this beautiful little village at Christmas time. So she goes there, and then she encounters all kinds of interesting things when she gets there.
Where do these stories come from in your mind? I gotta.
It's funny. The pivot in this story is she ends up renting an old church. Now you see all these old churches that get abandoned now.
Sure.
Well, in my story, there's a little stone church that gets abandoned and sits empty, and these yuppies from Boston buy it and they flip it. And they say to the realtor, we don't care if you can sell it, sell it. If you can rent it, rent it. Well, she rents it. And the only way you know it's still a church is that there's 4 stained glass windows that they couldn't take out without ruining, so they left them in. And they're pretty windows. And she starts this, our hero of the story, her name is Chase. She's not religious at all. She's not even sure she believes in God, but she looks at these windows every day. She walks by them, and she starts to notice in the one window, little things in the window that weren't there before. And it turns out they're clues of something that's going on in town and somebody who needs help. And that ends up happening with all 4 windows. And you ask where it comes from. That idea came to me in a dream. Literally 2 years ago, about this month, I had a dream. And I never remember dreams, but it happened right if you dream it right before you wake up, sometimes you remember it. And I dreamed of a guy in a church staring at church windows. And I went up to talk to the guy, and he looked at me and said, "Did you see that?" I said, "See what?" He said, "The window just changed. There's something there. It wasn't there a minute ago." And I assumed he was crazy. And then I woke up and I thought, well, that'd be interesting if a window changed and you were the only one that could see it. What would you do with the information? Do you go see a shrink and say, I'm losing my mind? Or do you follow the clues?
Oh my God, I'm getting chills up my spine right now. That's an awesome. I can't wait to read this. It's we're talking to John Gray from News 10 ABC's got a brand new book out. It's called Manchester Christmas. We're gonna put the links up there to all your books and all that stuff.
I appreciate that.
It sounds like a really interesting story, and to hear that it comes from a dream that you had is pretty wild. Now, someone already bought the rights to this one, right?
Yeah, when I was trying to find a publisher, I was sending it to everybody who would read it. And a woman on my Facebook page who I didn't know said, my son writes, he composes music for like Hallmark movies and Lifetime movies, and he's good friends with a director who does a lot of these movies. She said, let me ask my son if I can get his email address for you. So this was like February of this year, and she got me the email, and I sent him a letter saying, this is who I am. I have a book. I heard you do these kind of stories. It might be good for a Hallmark or a Lifetime movie. And I never heard back. So I assumed he just was like, who's this whack job in Albany, New York bothering me? And then when I got the publishing deal with my publisher, I was trying to close all the doors that had been left open. And he was one of those open doors. So I emailed him again and said, hey, I don't mean to be a jerk and bother you again, but I just want to make sure it's a definite, you don't want to see my book. He wrote me back and said, I never even saw the first email. So I was like, all right, I know I sent it, because I actually went back to my sent file. Must have went to his spam. So he said, send me the book. And this was in July. And he read it in 3 days, and he called me back. And I was in Cape Cod on vacation when we could still go on vacations this summer, for at least for a couple of days. And he called me back and said, I love the story and I want to buy the rights to it to try to make it a TV movie. So right now, as you and I are doing this interview, he's trying to sell it to a network. And he's working on they basically have to take the book and since they haven't read the book, he has to write out kind of a synopsis and then do his best job selling it. So hopefully, if fingers crossed, one of these guys likes the story idea and says, yeah, go ahead, we'll give you some money, go make the movie.
Oh my God, that'd be so cool.
That'd be crazy. It'd be crazy because the room I'm sitting in my house right now is it's a very unimpressive room with a desk I bought at Walmart and a $300 computer. And that's where I wrote the story. And if I ever turn on Lifetime or Hallmark or any channel and see characters I made up in my head talking on TV, I think I'm going to freak out.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Oh man, John Gray, brand new book is called Manchester Christmas. We got the links up to it. You got to read it. It sounds, I got to go get it today. It sounds like a great book, and it's so cool talking to you about it. And all the best with this, and we'll see you on TV.
Absolutely. Thanks, Randy.
All right, talk to you later.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.